Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. How you doing, guy? How you doing? He's ignoring me at the moment. Sometimes they will do this, sometimes they will look at you, sometimes they won't. There you go, hello. So the cats are still here. I've been going around and taking down the signs from Zombie Cleo's prank, and one thing we need to do at some point is take down these cat faces, but I think I'm going to honour her challenge and leave these guys around for 2 weeks. It shouldn't be too difficult. I have the volume turned down a fair bit at the moment because there are 11 of these guys in total, I think. I did count them a moment ago. I think there was 11, maybe 12 because there's an extra one up top. And so they do make a fair bit of noise, but I got my volume turned down, so it's okay. But this episode is going to be a bit of a bits and bobs type thing. There are a few little things that I want to do, one of them being clearing up this, and I thought we'd just do it all together in one episode. So we're going to go through things one at a time, but first of all I just wanted to have a quick little chat and say to all of you, thank you very much for all the support you have been giving me on the videos. I was looking through my statistics recently. I was just going through all the numbers of the views and the likes and the comments and things like that, and it really feels like lately things are going ever so well, which is great because the last few weeks have been pretty damn hectic, and so I just wanted to say thank you for all of your support. One thing I did notice though is that the comments have gone down recently a little bit, and of course this is probably because of G+, so I imagine a lot of you are not too happy with the interrogation of G+, and so less people have been signing up and therefore less people have been commenting. I've just noticed that that one is different from the rest of them. They've all got black either side of the pink, except for this one over here. This one is unique and special. Yeah, so the whole G+ thing, I know a lot of people don't like it. I personally like it as a content creator because it just interrogates everything that's going on in YouTube to a social network, which is a good thing from my perspective if you can understand that. And also commenting on G+ and understanding how it works is still baffling me a little bit, but the Hermitcraft community page is going really well. We have about 900 members at the moment, and if you're interested in joining, just look for the link in the description box because it's been quite decent so far. There's been lots of discussion, lots of people asking questions, and we've been answering them and stuff like that, which is exactly what we want. So make sure to check out that if you are interested in G+. Now this first thing we're going to do might turn into a little bit of a time lapse. I saw something on Reddit the other day where someone planted down a load of saplings in a big circle and made like a bit of a mega tree or something like that. I'll probably explain that in more detail when we find a suitable location to do this, because around here there isn't any dirt. Saying that, there's actually dirt over there. You can see it just about. I think my render distance might be turned down a little as well. So over there is probably the place that we're going to do this. But first of all I have to head back to the old hermit town because that's where all of my saplings are. I think I have a massive chest full of oak saplings, is it? So we'll probably make a tree out of that. As I said, I'll explain it in more detail when we get over there. So we are now ready to do this little experiment. It's called the Spruce Pod, by the way. I'll put a link to the Imager album in the description box if I remember. If I don't, leave a comment and then I'll sort that out. You know how it is. One thing that they changed in 1.7 that I think went by a lot of people, myself included, is that spruce wood trees now grow like this, which is pretty damn awesome. Yeah, that is really tall as well. That is a lot of spruce wood that you are going to get for 4 saplings, and probably enough leaves to get those 4 saplings back again. Now, one of my concerns with doing this is that we probably weren't going to get a great return on all of the saplings. I've just realised I didn't bring my ender chest with me, although I think I have everything that I need here. Who knows? Yeah, so we're not going to get a great return on the saplings if we grow loads of these together, but then depending on what height they choose to grow at, we might actually get quite a few back. Now what this guy did in the Imager album is he made a big circle like this. He spaced jack-o'-lanterns 3 blocks apart, and his one was a lot bigger. I'd say at least maybe twice the size of this circle, and then he planted down all of his saplings, let them grow, and then chopped it all down. Now my thoughts for this were, as I mentioned in a previous episode, if you put a bunch of saplings down together and let's say, I don't want to place them down in case they start growing, so let's say we put saplings like this in a circle and then all of the ones on the outside grow before this one does, then the light level here is so low that that sapling pops out and then it gets wasted. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen when we do this. In theory it should. Maybe that was something he didn't consider when he done this. I'm assuming it's a he, it could be a she. Yeah, so anyway, that's what the experiment's going to be. I've got plenty of saplings here. I actually calculated how big the circle was compared to how many saplings I have. So we have enough to do this, and I'm going to record it all, and maybe it'll make an interesting time lapse. So I'm recording the time lapse, and I was running around with the saplings and a tree grew right behind me as I walked into this dead end. Ah, classic. But what we can do is remove that and then replace it. In fact, I think when I placed this block, that sapling might get destroyed. No, it didn't. That's cool. I have to remove this block, I think. Yeah, that's it. So now we can place this one, and then we can put the dirt there, and then I can dig my way out of the side. Whoa, that was absolutely crazy. That took so much longer than I expected, and I remember thinking, you know, this circle's too small. The one in the Imager album was like at least twice the size of this, and I was thinking this isn't really big enough, but yeah, it took me a long time to cut down, and this is all the wood that we're left with, so this is where they all grew. And if you look here, you can kind of see the blocks of 4. It's like 4 and 4, because that's how they grow. It would seem that in 1.7 it's just the groups of 4 that grow really fast, because there wasn't actually any single trees that grew the whole time here. If I'm just looking around, and I can't see any that are grown by themselves. And as I came down, I popped out all of the saplings that are on their own as well, so they didn't grow either. So let's have a look at the haul that we got from that. Now, I don't think I'm going to need to chop down many trees for a long time. Look at that, almost a double chest. In fact, by the time we finish cutting these down, we'll probably yeah, that last layer will probably fill up the last bit there. So I actually have some numbers here. We planted 280 saplings down. I counted them as I planted, and we got 124 back from the leaves. Now, I couldn't pick up all of the saplings that dropped because I had to chop down all the wood. If you were doing this with a friend, maybe one of you could run around and pick up saplings if you were that bothered. So there is a loss. However, there were 85 still planted at the bottom. So that's 209 saplings we got back from the 280 that we planted. So we made a little bit of a loss, but we made tons and tons of spruce wood. That's awesome. All this kind of stuff will go towards pistons and things like that. And I do have a decent supply of the other woods as well. I think jungle wood is the only one that I'm short on. So there isn't much else for me to do now but to take this all apart. By the way, my picks have efficiency 4. You saw I built a beacon. I was just thinking, you know, this is really slow. I should get a beacon and speed it up. And I'm not sure if you have efficiency 5 on an axe, if it does the instant mine thing like you do with a pick as well. So that's something that I need to do. I need to get efficiency 5 on a pickaxe and find that out. But I guess we can take this down now. We're done with this time lapse, and now we're going to move on to the next thing. Look at this. I've just finished cleaning up. Haven't even attacked one of these guys, and it feels like they're just spawning more of their buddies in. In fact, those two just appeared out of nowhere. Yeah, I'm just... I haven't even attacked them. These social zombies are crazy. So, where are we? We are on our way to the second project right now. We have to go to the Mushroom Island to do that, and the quickest way to get there is to come to this island that has the Asian building on. Now, every now and then I see a comment about this, people asking, when is it going to come back? When are you going to do the Asian building? Well, the thing is, it never went away. The building is still here for sure, but the project as a whole is kind of on hold right now because, I mean, look at this thing. This was crazy. Me and Corrales done this over the course of 3 episodes. And it's a huge build. It's a little bit tricky. I mean, Corrales is more of a builder than me, but I found doing all this kind of stuff over and over again to be quite time consuming. And as well as that, you have to gather all the materials. And look at the amount of quartz that went into this. It was just a crazy build. And as of right now, you know, there's a lot of other stuff going on around the server. And so this is one of those things that we did. We had fun doing it. And then maybe one day in the future, we'll come back here and build another building in this theme. But it is really awesome, I've got to say. It looks really cool. I haven't been here in a long time, and I think I came back here and made a slight modification to something. Maybe there was something that was left unfinished that I'd forgotten about. I really can't remember. I'm also curious as to what I left over here. Some more, yeah, just random items. Now normally I'm the kind of guy who would take all of this back and sort it out, put it in chests and stuff like that, but do you know what? Can't be bothered. It can stay there for now. So I think the way to the Mushroom Island is over in that direction. And I've fallen in a hole. Well, this is interesting. I think you know what this is. This is the 1.7 border. And I've just noticed that the hunger bar's missing when I'm in a boat. That's interesting. But yeah, I've gone off course a little bit. And because I was the person who took the Hermitcraft map and sorted out all the world borders, you may notice here there's a kind of transition. That's the wrong word. Like a gradient, I guess you could say. There's 2 chunks and it goes back 1, 2 chunks, back 1, 2 chunks, back 1, and that goes all the way across here, and then at some point it should go in a straight line in that direction, which just means I've sort of gone in the right direction, but I've gone over to the edge a bit. So it looks like it's straight there now, and basically I carved out an area of the ocean around the mushroom biome. So the mushroom biome should be somewhere back there. We might actually be able to see it. Although I think I made it so that whenever you're on land, you're only going to be able to see ocean around all of the land that we have in the 1.6 area. So then all the 1.7 stuff is just out of sight, and then the only way to see it is if you come off the land like this. And it's actually quite interesting seeing these chunk borders. And I do believe that that is a forest flower biome. Am I right? Do I have any bones on me? Nope, I wasn't expecting this, of course. I think that we should just pull up here for a moment. And I want to keep the boat, so let's hope that it doesn't... Well, it's disappeared. And I'm over here. The boat's over there, and I'm over here. I don't know what's going on. Let's throw an ender pearl. That's probably not going to land on top. Nope, I missed. Okay. So the reason that I'm interested in this biome is because I think it's the only place that you can actually use bone meal. Wow, look at how many of these flowers there are. That is awesome. And this landscape looks pretty interesting as well over there. But it's good to know that this is here because, as I said, I think this is the only place where you can use bone meal to get these types of flowers. If you use them in the regular biomes, you know, the 1.6 ones and the ones where we have the Hermit Town, you're not going to be able to do that. So knowing there's a place that I can come and spam a load of bone meal is a good thing. And it also looks like we might have some interesting terrain around here. Let's get to the top and have a look. That is quite a pleasant sight. I do like that. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Anyway, so the mushroom biome should be somewhere over in that direction. So we have arrived at our destination, and you may be wondering, what am I going to do here? Well, we're going to do something we've done recently in the videos, do some more mining underground using the technique that Etho showed in his video. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I've been made aware there are smarter ways of doing this, which is why we have come over to the Mushroom Island. Now, in the comments on my video, I got a bunch of messages saying Etho wasn't the first person to do this, and do you know what? In Minecraft, there's so many things to be done, so many ideas and things that could happen, and so many people playing it that you're never going to know who's first to do it. But apparently, JL2579 had also done the same thing with a beacon down at the diamond levels, and he decided to do this in a mushroom island, which is where we are right now. You can see it if I press F3. Now, the reason that he did that is because mobs don't spawn in this biome. If you didn't know that, you'll probably be a little bit shocked. It's a really interesting thing to have in the game, but yeah, mobs can't spawn inside this biome. Now, you can bring mobs into this biome, and I think if they're on a mob spawner, they can spawn as well, but don't quote me on that. However, naturally they won't spawn at all, so it makes it an ideal place to do things like this where you don't want to be bothered by mobs. So if we go all the way down to the bottom and put down a beacon and do our speed mining thing, we don't have mobs. But as well as that, the other thing that JL used was potions. So if we just put down this chest and have a look, I have some fire resistance and night vision potions. So think about what that means. I can be a little bit careless, don't have to worry about lava being around, so we can just whiz through and mine all of the blocks. And the night vision means we can see what we're doing because we don't have to put down torches to stop mob spawning. So that's what we're going to be doing over here. Now, when I got here, I was a little disappointed at how hilly this area was because recently we'd done a whole bunch of research on the beacons, and we found out that the area around them is square. Now, that baffled me at the time because I've been told that apparently making square shaped selection areas in Minecraft is very difficult to do. And the only way I can really give an example of this is imagine if you have a... So I made a real hash of trying to explain that. So let's start again. Let's say I'm standing in this position right here, and the game wants to do a radius of 5 blocks. Then if I move out, you imagine that that's 5 blocks away, and then as we turn to the right here, it's going to create a circle shape at exactly 5 blocks from the player. Now with a square, it's different because it gets further away if you stay on the edge of the square. If you imagine there's a square shape there, standing from the center to the corner of the square is a longer distance than to the edge, and so supposedly the game has trouble calculating that or something, which is something that I've been told by someone who may actually know nothing about the game whatsoever. It's just one of those things. I didn't think it would be possible to have a square selection area, but that's what the beacon has, and it made me realize that if we put the beacon on the surface, it goes 50 blocks down anyway, and we mine at level 12, I do believe, so 50 plus 12 is 62, and the floor level or the ocean level is 64. So if you dig down a couple of blocks at the top, you could put a beacon and it would allow you to do all of the mining like normal, so you wouldn't have to go all the way down and then dig out an area at the bottom. And that was what I was planning on doing, although the center of this area is somewhere around here. So we're actually going to start from the center area, because not all of this around us is the mushroom biome. There is some ocean biome as well, so we probably will encounter a few mobs. But I've been rambling about this long enough. Let's go down there and start this project. Okay, we are ready to go, and I forgot to mention the most important thing about this. We're going to be doing branch mining, not just clearing out all of the blocks in sight. We're going to do branch mining so we can be smart about this. Now, this technique isn't about the maximum amount of diamonds we can get, it's about how many we can get in the smallest amount of time. So when I heard about JL's technique of using these 2 potions in the mushroom biome, I thought, well, that's great because you don't have to stop and place down torches to stop mob spawning. You can see what you're doing because of the night vision, and if you go into lava, you've got the fire resistance potion to cover you there. So you can do branch mining extremely quickly. Now, the one thing I forget to bring is some speed 2 potions. That would have been brilliant. But basically what we're going to do is sprint. We're going to hold down click. We're going to mine out all of the blocks in front of us as far as we can go. And by that I mean as far as the haste effect goes. and then we're going to do that every, is it 5th block? So there's 3 blocks in between, and that means with ores usually being in groups that are too wide, we're going to see them from either side. So we just have a simple branch mine set up here. We're going to go as far as we can in that direction and that direction, so we create like a corridor to walk down, and then we can go in either direction from this corridor, and then we will cover the entire area at this level around the beacon in around 60 blocks, because the range of this is 50, but if you're going along and the potion effect is at 8 seconds or 5 seconds, you know, you get to go a little bit further along. So we're going to cover a large amount of land in a short amount of time. Now I'm going to start off by doing this side over here in this direction and see how much we get from it in how much time. And then after that, I think I might take the trip back, grab some speed potions and do it again, just to see how much of a difference those make. But that's the technique. I'm going to try it out and we'll see how we do. So the results are in. That took me about 25 minutes to do, and I used up 3 sets of potions, and I think there was 22 different little strips like this that I went along, and I'd also count that as an extra 2 for going this way and this way as well, so in total 24, so it's around 1 a minute. And one of the things that slow you down, you know, you travel all the way to the end, but then you have to come back again, so it takes about 30 seconds to get through one of these, so it'd be nicer if you could just keep on going, really. If haste was a potion effect, it would be brilliant for this. But unfortunately, it is not. Another thing that slows you down is dirt and gravel, as you can imagine. And also when you get to the end and the beacon effect runs out, there's kind of like a latency between the server and the client still thinks you have haste. And so you kind of glitch into blocks and you get that thing where you derp around and you have to relog, and then a block appears in front of you. And actually that's really useful, because when you get to the end and that starts happening, you just turn around and you know that you've gone as far as you can go with the haste effect. But anyway, 25 minutes, we got 33 diamond ore. One of them I accidentally broke with my pick, so that is over I was about to say a second, it's not, is it? 1 a minute, which I think is pretty good. I was also picking up other ores as well, like lapis and gold whenever I saw it, just because those are a little harder to get than these other ones, but I thought if I pick up all of this stuff, it's just going to slow me down. So over 1 a minute at the moment, I think that's pretty good. But it'll be interesting to see how speed potions affect this test. And it is raining out there, isn't it? Brilliant. So we are back at the wastelands, and I do not have any more diamonds. It turns out that mine shaft was really small, so I didn't get anything out of that. But we got 70 diamond ore, or at least we found 70 diamond ore in this episode, which I think is pretty good for about 15 minutes worth of work. There is a little bit of prep time as well, you know, you have to make the potions and then set up the beacon as well, but I think that's pretty good. You'd say about an hour's work and you can get yourself 70 diamonds, so I think that's probably one of the smartest ways of doing branch mining. But there you go. I've also taken down the cats as well, as you've probably noticed. But that is it for this episode, so as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.